Hi, and welcome to the second summer workshop. This is Jenny Dauer again to lead you through an orientation of this workshop and also to give you some reminders. By now you may have printed out the many numbers of pages of teacher instructions and have begun to feel a little overwhelmed. We hope it isn't too much the case, but instead you see this as a resource for you to be prepared to teach during the school year and an opportunity to learn more about carbon time. Some of the activities are optional depending on your interests and needs, so be sure to pay attention to whether this is something that's going to be valuable for your time and how we indicate optionality within the instructions. And let me know if you have any questions about whether you should do something or what those sorts of things might provide for you. And if you have any questions in general about the curriculum. So here's just a quick reminder of how big this project is, with multiple collaborations with multiple arms. So there's lots of us here working in the background. And we're very happy that you've joined us and hope that you and your students will get a lot out of your participation in this project. And just for fun, here are some of you. It's nice to see your beautiful faces, and we hope that some of you get a chance to interact with one another within the project. And if you're a carbon time teacher who's all on your own and you'd like to have a partner teacher at another school, let us know and we can introduce you to somebody. So this could be a person that you chat with about how things are going, especially while you do the activities during this August workshop and throughout the school year. If there's just something that you maybe have a question about that we're not able to answer, or just in general to be collegial and to have more fun as you're a carbon time teacher. Also, Carbon Time has a Facebook page, which is a great place to communicate with each other informally throughout the school year. People post lots of carbon time related resources in the Facebook page. Participation is totally optional, and so to get on the Facebook webpage you have to email Stacy, who can add you. So here in broad brushstrokes are the tasks for the summer workshop. So new this year is that the units are on the National Geographic website, so we organized a tour for you of the website. And also we're going to train you to use the learning progression. We're going to dig in a little bit deeper on the learning progression and how it works. And of course we're going to have you learn a lot more about the 4 of the carbon time units. And so here you only have to work with the units that you expect to be teaching. And for that unit you'll learn about the structure and the sequence in the units and the learning goals for students, and about the inquiry activities and the molecular modeling activities that go along with that unit. And, oops, there you go. There are those things right there. And lastly, you'll do a formative assessment of your students. So you'll be able to download your students' answers to the baseline test that they took during the spring, along with an automatic assessment of the number of answers that they got correct. So this will help you think about what your students most need from carbon time this upcoming year. So you may have noticed that the summer workshop is focused on the first 4 units, but please don't forget about our fabulous large-scale units, the ecosystems unit and the human energy systems unit. These are full of excellent resources for teachers. These revised units, and here they are, these revised units will be available on September 1st, and they'll be posted first on the Michigan State website before they're posted on the National Geographic website. It takes a little bit of time for them to process them. But if you're interested in teaching them earlier in the school year, like in September or October, and you'd like to get the curriculum earlier, let us know, and we'll do our best to provide you with the resources that you need, or to provide you with last year's curriculum so you can get a sense for what these 2 units are about. And they're really fabulous. I promise you won't be disappointed if you decide to teach one of these 2. And in September 1st, starting September 1st, we'll have more workshop activities that'll help train you to use these units. Okay, so a question that teachers often ask is, do I need to teach the units exactly as written, or how much am I allowed to modify or adapt or transform the units and still be considered teaching carbon time as part of the pilot project? So here is our attempt to answer that question for you. So there is a lot that you can modify but as pilot teachers in our research program, we ask that you do at least 4 things. First of all, after administering the carbon time unit pre-test and post-test online, like I said, you'll get this automatic feedback from the NREL testing system about your students' learning progression levels, and we'll train you to use that during this workshop. So we'd like you to use this information to help you plan activities. Do students need more help understanding carbon transforming processes at the atomic molecular level? Do they need to be reminded of the rules of conservation of matter and energy and how to apply them? We'd like you to use these tests to help you figure out what to teach and how well your students learned. Secondly, the 3 questions are a useful method to help guide students to trace matter, carbon atoms, and energy through carbon transforming processes. And we think that these help students give explanations that conserve matter and energy and follow the rules. So to teach carbon time, we ask that you would prominently display the 3 questions in the rules and use them frequently in instruction and assessment of student work. And third, the investigations in the carbon time units are designed to help students develop arguments from evidence when tracing matter and energy and macroscopic phenomenon. So we ask that you guide students through the investigations based on the 3 questions and the rules. So the inquiry investigations are a key part of the carbon time curriculum. And fourth, the molecular modeling exercises. The investigations in the units are followed by molecular modeling and also molecular animations in the PowerPoint presentations, and also student writing to help develop explanations of carbon transforming processes. So doing some parts of all of those activities, depending on what your students need, is an important part of carbon time teaching. And if you have any other questions, there's a document in Group Spaces under Files Summer 2 Workshop that's called What is Carbon Time Teaching? That explains these 4 things a little bit more, and if you have any other questions about it, let me know. So this slide is just a quick slide to say that you can start teaching carbon time anytime during the school year. You can administer the pre-test the first week of school, and then not teach systems and scale unit until October, let's say. You can teach other content in between the carbon time units. And there can be a lag from when you finish teaching all the carbon time units and when you administer the full test. So here's an example of what that might look like. So you maybe would do systems and scale in October, and maybe even while you are teaching, give feedback on that unit, and then give a post-test for that unit. And then start the next one with the pre-test, give teacher feedback as you teach, and then give a post-test. And then there could be a lag between when you do the first 2 units and the 3rd unit. Let's say it's October to February. And then the full test is anytime after you've finished. Okay, so this is just a quick reminder of what you'll be getting out of being in this program. So you'll have access to all of the carbon time units on the National Geographic Education webpage. And this includes brand new videos that we produced with National Geographic during the summer for this curriculum that are really cool. I'm excited for you to see them. And there are also fancy animations within the PowerPoint that has molecules zooming all around. So when you're looking through the PowerPoints, be sure to watch them in presenter view so you can see all of the resource that's there for you. So part of Carbon Time is getting access to professional development and payment. Typically the processing of your payments are linked to when we get student data and feedback on the units. And if you have any questions about the processing of those, and I should also say Michigan State is perennially slow at processing payments. Not within our group. Stacy does her best, but even beyond that in the upper approval levels, sometimes it's just really slow for them doing all kinds of things, including people who work at Michigan State. They're very slow at reimbursing. So please be patient with us, but that payment will get to you. And we'll start the process as soon as we get all of the data from you. And third, you'll get all of your teaching materials and equipment. So you should have gotten your materials at this point, unless you ordered them after July 8th. So email Stacy or I if you haven't received them yet. Also, you can switch to the level 1 carbon time teacher at any time, although we'd be really sad to see you go. So the level 1 carbon time teachers will just have access to our units with no other benefits or expectations. So here's a quick reminder of what the expectations are. We'd like you to teach at least 3 of the 6 pilot carbon time units, participate in online workshops, and you've already done some of these, so now remaining is the 15-hour workshop in August and 2 optional workshops during the school year. One will be the large-scale units in September, and then participate in all of the data collection. And here is what is the data collection that you have to participate in. One is the full test. So you will administer this 3 times, and you've already administered the baseline test. So that will be in the fall and then in the spring. And we'd like this for at least one class that has at least 25 students total. So one or more classes. And then the unit tests will either also be online or written, and they will be pre and post each unit that you teach for one or more class with at least 25 students total. And then the teacher questionnaire, you should have finished the teacher questionnaire for spring before starting this workshop, and then we'll have you take it again in the spring in 2014. And lastly, there's the teacher feedback. So we would like evaluation of all of the lessons and activities that you've completed. And so what that feedback looks like, I'd like to tell you a little bit about that. There will be 3 ways that we collect feedback from you this year. So the first is through the NREL testing site that you've been on before. And here the feedback will be very quick and simple, and it'll be an indication of which activity you've taught and an opportunity to comment on the quality of the activity. So this year's feedback is much simpler and quicker than last year's feedback for those who are continuing. And I highly recommend that you work on this feedback as you're teaching as much as you can. And we'll provide instructions for how to access these feedback forms online. And this will be one of the ways that we'll be able to keep track also of your teaching progress. The next 2 ways that you'll give feedback are much more informal. One will probably be around some kind of spring workshop that we provide. And it will be kind of a general discussion about the units and what you liked and didn't like and the resources that we've provided. And the second will be possibly a phone call, like maybe a 1-hour interview after you've finished teaching all the units. And we'll be in touch about these last 2 aspects at some point in the future. Another important thing I wanted to mention is the Carbon Time Teacher dashboard. This is located on the NREL testing site. And soon, when you log in to your account, you'll see a My Dashboard icon on the left-hand side. And when you click on this, it'll link you to your own personal page, which is a dashboard that looks like this. And on this page will be a list of tasks that we need all Carbon Time teachers to do. And this will be an organizing place for you and a way to communicate with us about your progress teaching and collecting data. Stacy will train you how to use the dashboard during this workshop, and we expect you to go to this page fairly frequently and hope that it will also be useful to you as a way to keep track of your progress and be sure that you're not missing any important details, and as a way to keep all of the information in one place. So throughout this workshop, we'll have 2 forum posts that are open-ended for your question, either about curriculum or logistics. So feel free to use these to post questions that might be interesting for other teachers too, perhaps. And so that will be questions about the curriculum, questions about the logistics. And don't forget that you can remove yourself from emails in a post when you post on the forum. So like, let's say you post once, so you get your question answered, and then you don't want to see what other people post. You can do that by unsubscribe by clicking a link in your email at any time. Let me know if you have any questions about that. I can tell you how to do it. And lastly, during their last workshop, you got to hear from Andy and from me and from Stacy. And I'd also like to introduce Hannah Miller, who is a graduate student at Michigan State, and she'll be participating in the workshop during this August And also she'll be serving as the project director after August 15th. And that's because I am moving to the University of Nebraska as a faculty member there, and so I will no longer be the project director, but I'll be continuing to be involved in certain aspects of the project for some time. So hopefully I'll still get to interact with you in some capacity. So thank you, and I hope you have a good time learning about the curriculum and doing some formative assessment of your students. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.